The announcement echoed through Terminal 2 of Narita International Airport. Final boarding call for flight UA837 to San Francisco. All passengers must board immediately. I stood frozen at gate 47, watching my mother, father, and younger brother disappear through the jet bridge without looking back. No phone. My brother had borrowed it an hour ago to upload family photos and never returned it. No wallet. My mother had taken it for safekeeping when we went through security, claiming it was easier if she kept all our documents together. No boarding pass, because they'd cancelled mine 30 minutes ago while I was in the restroom. I ran to the gate agent, breathless. "Please, my family just boarded. I need to get on that flight." She checked her screen, her expression shifting from annoyed to sympathetic. "Miss Harper, your ticket was voluntarily cancelled 40 minutes ago. The refund request came from the account holder." She turned the screen so I could see. "Cancelled by Linda Harper, mother. Reason: passenger no longer traveling. Refund: processed." The jet bridge door sealed shut with a mechanical hiss. Through the window, I watched the plane push back from the gate. They'd planned this, every helpful gesture, that morning, taking my wallet, my phone, my passport, which I'd just realized was in my mother's carry-on, not mine. Every delay that kept me away from the gate until it was too late. I was 32 years old, stranded in Tokyo with literally nothing. Not because of an accident, because my own family had orchestrated my abandonment. My name is Eleanor Harper, and that moment, standing alone in a foreign airport with tears threatening to spill, should have been my lowest point. Instead, it became the beginning of everything, because that's when I heard a voice behind me say in perfect English, "Don't cry yet, you'll ruin your leverage." I turned to find a man in his late 30s, impeccably dressed in a charcoal suit that probably cost more than my rent. Dark hair, sharp eyes that seemed to be calculating something, and an expression that was neither sympathetic nor mocking, just coldly pragmatic. "Excuse me?" He gestured subtly toward the gate area. "Your family, they're watching from the departure lounge window on the other side. Probably want to see you break down. Don't give them that satisfaction yet." I glanced toward the windows. Sure enough, I could make out 3 figures. Mum's blonde hair, Dad's distinctive posture, my brother's hoodie, watching me like I was a reality show they'd just bet on. "Who are you?" I managed. Someone who recognizes a setup when he sees one. He extended a business card. "Dominic Chen, I have a proposal that might interest you." The card was heavy stock, embossed lettering. Dominic Chen Global Ventures. Tokyo, Singapore, San Francisco. "I'm not interested in—" "Your family just stranded you in a foreign country with no resources," he interrupted calmly. "In approximately 20 minutes, you'll be escorted out of the secure area by airport security because you have no valid boarding pass. You'll attempt to reach the ticketing counter, where you'll discover you can't purchase a new ticket without identification or payment method. You'll try to contact your embassy, but without a phone, and with most offices closed for the evening, you'll spend tonight sleeping in the arrivals hall while figuring out tomorrow's plan." Every word hit like a precision strike, because it was exactly the nightmare I'd been trying not to think about. "Unless," he continued, "you accept my offer." "Which is?" He looked at me with those calculating eyes. "I need someone to play my fiancée for the next 6 weeks. In exchange, I'll get you home, compensate you generously, and ensure your family regrets ever leaving you here." I should have walked away. I should have found airport security, called someone, figured it out on my own. But something in his voice, that promise of revenge wrapped in a business proposition, made me pause. "Why me?" "Because, 30 minutes ago, I watched you coordinate your entire family through security with military precision. You handled document checks, managed your brother's anxiety about the metal detectors, diffused an argument between your parents about departure gates, all while keeping everyone on schedule." He tilted his head slightly. "That's exceptional crisis management, and you did it for people who are actively sabotaging you. Imagine what you could do for someone who's actually on your side." You were watching us. I was waiting for my flight. Your family was memorable. He checked his watch. You have about 15 minutes before security arrives. After that, my offer expires. So what's it going to be, Elena Harper? He knew my name. Of course he did. He'd probably heard it announced at the gate. What exactly does playing your fiancée entail? We sat in a private lounge on the secure side of the airport. Dominic had some kind of elite status that got us past security with a few words to the agents. He ordered green tea for both of us while I tried to process what was happening. Let me start with full transparency, he said once we were alone. I'm the CEO of Chen Global Ventures. We're a venture capital firm specializing in tech startups across Asia Pacific. 3 months ago, my grandfather, who founded the company, passed away. In his will, he left controlling interest to me, but there's a condition. I sipped the tea, grateful for something to hold. Let me guess, you need to be married. Engaged, for a minimum of 6 months, after which point the shares transfer permanently. He set down his cup. My grandfather was traditional. He believed business leaders needed stable personal lives. He'd been pushing me to settle down for years. And you haven't? I've been focused on building the company. Relationships were inconvenient. He said it matter-of-factly, no apology. But now I need to fulfill the will's requirements or the controlling shares default to my cousin Marcus, who will absolutely destroy everything my grandfather built. How bad is Marcus? He wants to liquidate our long-term investments for quick profits, fire half the staff, and pivot into crypto speculation. Dominic's jaw tightened. My grandfather spent 40 years building relationships, nurturing startups that would take decades to mature. Marcus wants to gut it all in 12 months. I could hear the genuine care in his voice. This wasn't just about money or control. It was about legacy. So, you need a fake fiancé for 6 months. A believable one. We'd need to attend family events, company functions, maintain the appearance of a genuine relationship, social media presence, public dates, the full performance. And after 6 months, we quietly break up. You walk away with $250,000, a reference for whatever career you choose, and the satisfaction of knowing you helped preserve my grandfather's legacy. $250,000. 6 months of my life for $250,000 and revenge on my family. Why not hire an actress, someone professional? I considered it, but actresses are trained to play characters, not to be genuine. My family would spot a fake immediately, my grandmother especially. She has this uncanny ability to detect insincerity. He leaned forward slightly. But you? You're real. The way you handled your family's crisis, the competence under pressure, that's not something you can fake. They weren't in crisis. They were abandoning me. And yet, you still performed. That's even more impressive. He pulled out a folder. He'd come prepared. Here's the contract Martin Chen drafted. He's our family lawyer. You'd have full legal protection, money held in escrow, exit clauses if things become untenable. I should have been suspicious. This was too convenient, too perfect. But something about Dominic's directness felt trustworthy. He wasn't trying to charm me or manipulate me emotionally. He was presenting a business transaction with clear terms. And right now, I needed a transaction more than I needed a rescue. What happened with your family? He asked suddenly. What did you do to make them strand you here? The question hit an exposed nerve. I refused to co-sign a loan for my brother's restaurant concept. He's 28, never held a job longer than 6 months, has failed at 3 previous business ideas. My parents wanted me to guarantee $150,000. When I said no, they decided I was selfish and holding the family back. So they punished you. They've been punishing me my whole life for having boundaries. The words came out more bitter than I intended. I'm the oldest. I was supposed to sacrifice everything for family success. When I didn't, I became the problem. Dominic nodded slowly. My cousin Marcus operates similarly. Entitlement masquerading as family loyalty. When you refuse to enable it, you're the villain. We sat in, understanding silence for a moment. If I do this, I said carefully, I want 2 things added to the contract. Name them. 1. I want help exposing whatever financial scheme my family is running. This abandonment wasn't random, they planned it, which means there's a bigger play I don't see yet. Done. I have investigators who can dig into that. 2. After 6 months, I want a job. Real work, not charity. Something where I can use actual skills. He considered this. What's your background? Event management and operations. I spent 5 years running high-end corporate conferences before I burned out and took a break. I met his eyes. I'm good at it. Really good. I just got tired of doing it for people who didn't appreciate the work. We host quarterly investor showcases across 3 countries. Our current events team is adequate, but uninspired. He extended his hand. You coordinate events for 6 months as my fiancée. If you're as good as you claim, the job's yours permanently afterward. I looked at his hand, at the contract on the table, at the window where my family had watched me fall apart. I shook his hand. Deal. Dominic's private jet sat on the tarmac at a separate terminal, the kind reserved for people who don't fly commercial. As we boarded, I finally asked, "Why were you at Narita? I thought you were based in San Francisco." "Board meeting in Tokyo. I'm flying back for our investor showcase this weekend, which, incidentally, will be your first public appearance as my fiancé." The cabin was more like a luxury apartment than a plane. Cream leather seats, a bedroom in the back, a full conference table with screens. I collapsed into one of the chairs, exhaustion finally hitting. "Elena." Dominic handed me a phone, new, already activated. "Password is your birth date. I had our team set it up. Your family can't track it." I turned it on, seeing it fully loaded with apps, contacts transferred somehow. "How did you—" "Your iCloud was still active on your old phone. We mirrored everything." He sat across from me. "You'll want to call someone. Let them know you're safe." The first person I called was my best friend Rachel. She answered on the first ring, voice frantic. "Elena, oh my God, your mum called me 3 hours ago, saying you had a breakdown at the Tokyo airport and disappeared. Are you okay? Where are you?" "I'm fine, I'm on a flight home." "Your mum said you ran off upset, that they tried to find you but you vanished." "Rachel," I cut her off. "That's not what happened. They cancelled my ticket and left me stranded deliberately." Silence. Then, "What?" I explained everything. The borrowed phone, the stolen wallet, watching them board without me. "Those absolute—" Rachel's fury was immediate. "Why? What did you do?" I refused to co-sign Tyler's restaurant loan. "So they left you in a foreign country with nothing. Elena, that's not punishment, that's abuse." "I know." I glanced at Dominic, who was politely working on his laptop, giving me privacy. "But I'm okay now. Actually, I'm more than okay. I need you to do something for me. Anything. My family's going to have a story ready when I get home. Some narrative about me being unstable or dramatic. I need you to document everything they're saying, save texts, record calls if legal, screenshot social media posts, everything. You're building a case. I'm protecting myself. There's a difference." After we hung up, Dominic looked up. "Smart move. Documentation is everything. Learned that from 6 years of corporate event planning. Always paper trail." He smiled slightly. "This is going to work well." 24 hours after landing in San Francisco, Dominic's investigator delivered a preliminary report. We sat in his penthouse office, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the bay, as Marcus Chen, no relation to Dominic despite the last name, laid out the findings. "Your family's financials are interesting," Marcus said, pulling up documents on the large screen. "Tyler Harper has applied for 5 business loans in the past 2 years, all rejected due to poor credit and no collateral. That sounds right, he's terrible with money. But 3 months ago something changed. A loan application was approved, $200,000 from Pacific Community Bank, co-signed by Elena Harper." I sat up straight. I never co-signed anything. Marcus zoomed in on a signature. "This is your signature, or a very good forgery." I stared at my own handwriting on a document I'd never seen. How is this possible? Dominic leaned forward. Do your parents have access to any documents with your signature? Old leases? Medical forms? Anything? My stomach dropped. I signed power of attorney forms last year when I had surgery. Mom said it was just in case something went wrong while I was under anesthesia. She'd be able to make medical decisions. Medical power of attorney, Marcus said grimly, can be misused if the documents aren't specific enough. If they got samples of your signature from multiple sources, they could have forged this loan application. But the bank would verify. They'd call the phone number listed on the application. Which number did they have on file for you? I felt sick. Probably my old number, the one my brother currently has. Marcus nodded. So when the bank called to verify, Tyler answered as you, confirmed the application, and the loan was approved. That's fraud. Yes. And it gets worse. Marcus pulled up another document. The loan money never went to a restaurant. It was transferred to an LLC called Harper Family Investments. Your father is the registered agent. They've been using it to pay off credit card debt, your brother's car loan, and make down payments on 2 investment properties. Using my credit. Using your credit, your signature, and your social security number, which, by the way, has now been flagged by 3 credit monitoring services for suspicious activity. I couldn't breathe. They took out a loan in my name, committed fraud, and then stranded me in Tokyo so I wouldn't discover it. Dominic's voice was ice-cold calm. That's exactly what they did. The Tokyo trip was probably planned specifically to create distance while the loan cleared. By leaving you stranded, they bought themselves more time before you could check your credit or confront them. But I'm home now, which means they're going to escalate, Marcus warned. They'll have a story ready. They'll paint you as unstable, maybe try to claim you authorized the loan and forgot due to stress. Classic gaslighting. I looked at both of them. What do I do? Dominic stood. We go on offense. Marcus, file a fraud report with SFPD immediately. Get Eleanor's credit frozen across all 3 bureaus. And I want documentation of every transfer from that LLC. Already on it. Elena, Dominic turned to me. This weekend's investor showcase just became more important. We need you visibly stable, successful, and completely in control. When your family inevitably tries to discredit you, we need witnesses who can contradict that narrative. The Chen Global Ventures quarterly investor showcase took place at the Four Seasons Hotel Ballroom. 300 guests, $5 million in potential investments on the line. I'd spent 3 days transforming the event from adequate to exceptional. The previous team had planned a standard conference, podium presentations, boxed lunches, networking hour. Boring, forgettable. I redesigned everything. New layout. Instead of lecture hall seating, I created collaboration pods, circular tables with integrated charging stations, and tablets preloaded with interactive pitch decks. New flow. Rather than passive presentations, I structured it as a startup safari. Investors rotated through stations where founders gave 15-minute deep dives, then answered questions in small groups. New experience. I brought in chef-prepared small plates served throughout, craft cocktails with names inspired by our portfolio companies, The Disruption, Series A Sour, and ambient music that shifted energy levels between sessions. Dominic's CFO had been skeptical. This is a business event, not a tech conference. These investors attend 50 conferences a year, I'd replied. They'll remember the one that didn't bore them to death. Now, watching it unfold, I could see it working. Conversations were animated. Investors were engaged, actually asking questions instead of checking phones. Several had already requested follow-up meetings with founders they'd dismissed in previous pitch decks. Dominic found me near the bar, monitoring flow. You're not just good at this, you're exceptional. I know. No false modesty. I'd earned the confidence. The board members have noticed. 3 of them have asked if you're available for consulting. I'm currently playing your fiancée, remember? He smiled. About that. He took my hand, the first intentionally public gesture of the evening. Showtime. We walked to the center of the ballroom where his grandmother, Margaret Chen, held court with several major investors. Margaret was 82, sharp as broken glass, wearing an emerald key-pow that probably cost more than a car. "Dominic," she said warmly. Then her eyes locked on me. "And this must be the woman who's been hiding from family. Elena Harper." I extended my hand. "It's an honor to meet you, Mrs. Chen." She didn't shake immediately, just studied me with eyes that missed nothing. "Harper. Any relation to the Harpers from Seattle?" My family was from Seattle. "How did she—" "Different branch," I said smoothly. "Though we do share the tendency toward complicated family dynamics." Margaret's lips twitched, almost a smile. She shook my hand. "I like her. She doesn't pretend family is simple." Over the next hour, Margaret grilled me about my work, my background, how I met Dominic. We'd prepared a story. Conference in Singapore, bonded over terrible hotel coffee. I kept it natural, adding small details that made it believable. The kind of specificity you can't script. At one point, she asked point blank, "What do you want from my grandson?" Dominic tensed beside me, but I didn't hesitate. Honestly, initially I wanted security. I was in a vulnerable position, and he offered stability. But now I want to help him protect what your husband built. This company is remarkable, and I've seen what happens when legacy gets destroyed by people who don't understand its value. Margaret held my gaze for a long moment. "You've experienced that personally." It wasn't a question. "I have." She nodded once. "Then you'll understand why the engagement clause mattered to my husband. He wanted Dominic to have someone who saw beyond profit margins, someone who understood what's worth protecting." The conversation shifted after that. Easier, more genuine. By the end of the evening, Margaret had invited us to family dinner the following Sunday. "That," Dominic said as we left, "was the biggest hurdle. If my grandmother approves, the rest falls into place. She knows this is transactional. She suspects. But she also sees that you're competent, genuine, and not intimidated by her. That matters more than romance." My family showed up at Dominic's building 3 days later. Security called up. "Miss Harper, you have visitors. Linda, Richard, and Tyler Harper. They're insisting on seeing you." I looked at Dominic, who was working at the dining table. "They found me." "Want me there?" "No. This is mine to handle." I met them in the lobby. Neutral territory, witnesses present. My mother moved first, arms outstretched for a hug I didn't return. "Elena, thank God you're safe. We've been so worried. You left me stranded in Tokyo." She blinked, hurt flooding her face. "Sweetheart, no. You ran off before we could explain. The ticket was cancelled by mistake. Mom, I watched you board without looking back." My father stepped forward, using his reasonable parent voice. "Elena, you're clearly confused. The stress of the trip." "I'm not confused, and I'm not listening to this anymore." I pulled out my phone, showing the loan documents. "I know about the $200,000 loan. The one forged with my signature. The LLC you're using to hide fraud." Tyler's face went pale. My father's expression hardened. "That's a serious accusation." "It's also true. I've already filed a police report. The bank is investigating, and I've frozen my credit across all bureaus." My mother's tears dried instantly, replaced by cold calculation. "You're making a mistake. We're family. Family protects each other. You forged my signature, stole my identity, and left me in a foreign country to cover your tracks. That's not family. That's crime." "You're being dramatic," Tyler said, finding his voice. "It was just a loan. You'll get paid back." "From what income? Your failed restaurant attempts? Your non-existent business plan?" My father leaned close, voice dropping dangerously. "You embarrass this family with these accusations, and there will be consequences. The consequences are already happening. I'm not part of your schemes anymore. Where are you getting this attitude?" my mother demanded. Is it him, this Dominic Chen you've suddenly attached yourself to? We looked him up. He's using you for some inheritance play. You're too naive to see it. I see it perfectly. Unlike you, he's been honest about what he wants from me, and he's paying me fairly for my time. He's paying you? My father's voice filled with contempt. So you're what? His escort? Dominic's voice came from behind me. He'd come down after all. Careful, Mr. Harper. Defamation has legal consequences too. My father sized him up. Stay out of family business. Elena is my fiancée. Her business is mine. Dominic moved beside me, presenting a united front. My mother laughed, bitter, sharp. Fiancé, you've known him 3 days. Long enough to recognize genuine support, something I never got from you. Tyler tried one more appeal. Elena, come on. We're your family. No. I met each of their eyes. Family doesn't commit fraud. Family doesn't abandon daughters at airports. Family doesn't gaslight and manipulate. I pulled out a folder. Marcus had prepared it. This is a cease and desist letter. You're to have no contact with me. Any attempts will be documented for the ongoing fraud investigation. My mother took the letter, hands shaking with rage. You're going to regret this. The only thing I regret, I said quietly, is not doing it sooner. They left without another word. Dominic and I rode the elevator back up in silence. You okay? He asked finally. I should feel worse than I do. Cutting off toxic family is supposed to hurt, but sometimes relief is stronger than grief. The 6-month engagement period ended quietly. Dominic received his controlling shares. His grandfather's legacy was secure. We staged a gentle breakup for public consumption. Mutual decision, remained friends. Timing wasn't right. The $250,000 hit my account as promised. But something unexpected had happened during those 6 months. I'd become indispensable to Chen Global Ventures. The quarterly showcases I'd redesigned became industry events people wanted to attend. Our investor pipeline tripled. Founders specifically requested to pitch at our events because the format actually worked. When Dominic offered me the permanent position as Director of Experience Strategy, it wasn't charity. It was recognition. My family's fraud case moved through the system slowly but definitively. Tyler faced charges for identity theft. My parents faced conspiracy charges. The properties they'd bought with my forged loan were seized. I didn't attend the hearings. Marcus handled it. Cutting them off completely turned out to be easier than I'd expected. No guilt, no second guessing, just peace. Dominic and I remained friends, real ones, built on mutual respect rather than contractual obligation. One evening, working late in the office, he asked, "Do you regret how this all started?" I thought about that airport terminal, the panic of being stranded, the desperation that made me accept a stranger's offer. No, being abandoned was the best thing that ever happened to me. How so? I spent 32 years prioritizing family who never prioritized me back. That airport moment forced me to finally choose myself, and everything good came from that choice. He nodded slowly. Your family tried to leave you with nothing. Instead, they left me with clarity. Sometimes the greatest gift is finding out who people really are. Rachel visited my new apartment, a beautiful 2-bedroom in Pacific Heights that I'd bought with my saved salary and settlement money. You know what's wild, she said, looking out at the Golden Gate Bridge view. A year ago, you were stranded at Tokyo Airport with nothing. Now, look at you. I joined her at the window. Feels surreal sometimes. Have they tried contacting you? Tyler sent a letter from his lawyer asking me to drop the charges. I declined. Your mom? Radio silence. I think she genuinely believes she did nothing wrong, that I'm the villain in her story. How do you feel about that? I considered it. Indifferent, which is better than angry. Indifference means they don't have power anymore. My phone buzzed. Dominic, asking about the Singapore showcase next month. Is there something happening with you two? Rachel asked, grinning. We're friends. Friends who have dinner 3 times a week and finish each other's sentences. I laughed. Maybe. We'll see. The truth was, neither of us was rushing anything. We'd built something genuine from a fake foundation. If it became more, it would happen naturally. But even if it didn't, I had something more valuable than romance. I had myself back. The girl who'd been taught to sacrifice everything for family approval had died at that Tokyo airport. The woman who'd been born in that moment was stronger, clearer, and finally free. If you're reading this and you've ever been the family member who gives endlessly while others take freely, if you've been gaslit into believing your boundaries are selfishness, if you've been abandoned by people who claim to love you, know this: being left behind isn't the tragedy. Staying would have been. Sometimes the people who should protect you become the ones you need protection from, and sometimes a stranger's cold business proposition contains more genuine care than a lifetime of family obligation. I got lucky. Dominic happened to be at that airport at that exact moment with an offer that changed everything. But the real luck wasn't his intervention. The real luck was finally being desperate enough to save myself. Because here's the truth they don't tell you about cutting off toxic family. It doesn't feel like loss. It feels like breathing.